for giving me this opportunity to speak today. They sent me an email and asked me to do this speech, and they said, could you give the graduates, the undergrads, some words of advice, your experience? And I was like, I don't even know if I'm really qualified to do that because I don't even know how to do my taxes. And so I had to sit there and really think about who I am today. And I remember, sorry if I get emotional, someone's cutting onions somewhere on the campus, I know that for a fact. When I was 18 years old, in high school they have you write that 10-year letter to yourself where you come back for your reunion and you read it. I wrote a really small letter to myself and I said, "Hi Tatiana, I hope you're alive. I'm scared, and here's $1.50 if you make it so you can buy yourself a Dr. Pepper, because I think you might be broke." And so I went into college with a lot of uncertainty because as former foster youth, we get told a lot that we're not going to be much when we grow up. But that's not us. That's a reflection of the foster care system and not a reflection of who we are as individuals. And I remember my first time on campus, I met Lori, and she took me around, walked me through all the different buildings, and I thought, I can see myself here and becoming my own person. And the reason I chose to come to Cal State was because it was far enough to be my own individual, because I've always been known as Malia's little sister. My sister is sitting in the audience. She also went to San Diego State, and so I had that option, but I decided to go on my own because it was time for Tatiana to grow her own wings. And then I came to orientation and I met Jim. I won't forget that there was an IT issue where I couldn't get into my email, and he said, "No, this is not it. We're walking straight to IT right now. We're getting this fixed." And I think that was the first time in my life I remember him sitting next to me in the computer lab and we're waiting for IT to come out. And I was like, "Thank you for doing this for me." And he was like, "Don't thank me. This is my job. And we're going to get you your password, and that's going to be it." And I remember thinking, wow, I picked the right school. For the first time in my life, I wasn't someone's burden. Someone actually wanted to be there for me. And so I decided then and there out that I would become the Tatiana that I should be. And so I started throwing myself in different parts of the campus. I took heavily to making friends, and I met my lifelong friends, Marin, Hector. Hector is one of my best friends. There was a time where I had nowhere to live, and Hector let me sleep on his couch for 2 weeks. And that was another moment that I thought back to 18-year-old Tatiana talking about, I don't know if you're gonna make it. And yet I persevered through that. And I'm here because friends, my former foster youth friends, because we are a strong community. And from then and there, I studied abroad in Rome, and I got to see the Vatican, and I stood there thinking, this is so beautiful. I made it. I feel alive. And I kept doing more things because that feeling of being alive and not having to just survive, that was a feeling I can't describe to you in words. Imagine standing there in the middle of the Vatican, looking at the art and thinking about all the people that came through there, their different journeys in life, and yet we all ended up here. And so I don't have a lot of inspirational things to say to you. I wish I can go back and hug 18-year-old Tatiana and tell her everything's gonna be all right. But it's gonna be a lot of roads that you're gonna hit where there's obstacles, and you're gonna have to be strong. You're no longer names on court documents. You're no longer social worker visits. You're graduates. You're you. You're not just a former foster youth, and you have made it. Don't listen to the statistics. Those are just numbers. You're human. Paul, I'm proud of you. Paul is one of my mentees, and I got to watch him come in from his freshman year. He worked hard. You know our origin stories, and that's okay, you don't need to know. But what you do need to know, that these kids here are survivors, and that's what we are. We keep pushing, and I guess that's why we call ourselves ACE scholars. I don't know what makes it different from the Guardian scholars, but ACE is definitely there. If you ever get lost, just know that's okay. That's normal. Because there's going to become a day where you sit down and you look back at who you were when you were 18 years old, and you will know that 18-year-old you will be so proud of who you are. You are amazing, and you are powerful. Today is where your story begins because the rest is still unwritten.